Hello, fellow humans. Did you know 74% of people want the end of capitalism? A recent report to the Club of Rome asked 20,000 people in G20 countries if they wanted to transform economic systems to prioritize well-being, health, and protection of the planet over a singular focus on profit and economic growth. The answer was a resounding yes. 74% of people support the idea that their country's economic priorities should move beyond profit and increasing wealth and focus more on human well-being and ecological protection. Beyond profit? What does it mean if not the end of capitalism? I will unpack what the report is proposing and what it actually means for your life. Stick to the end when I will tell you what I mean by capitalism. I am Vlad Bunea. I make videos about how we must replace capitalism with the well-being economy. How to do it? With the theory and practice of degrowth. Since 1972, scientists have well understood that we cannot have infinite economic growth on a finite planet. This is what can happen to human welfare under 4 different scenarios in the next 80 years. If we stabilize the world with recommended policies, we stand a chance of maintaining and growing the well-being of all humans. But if we continue business as usual, there will be significant drops in life satisfaction and health. Social tension will increase. The world will become even more polarized. Conflicts over water, food, and safe housing will multiply. The green here is the safe operating space which provides a good chance of ensuring Earth remains habitable for humans. Outside that area, there are serious uncertainties about how Earth systems work. If we keep pushing into the orange areas, chances of ecological breakdown increase. The Earth for All report has 5 solutions to the present crisis. Their aim is to stabilize society by 2050. They are all interconnected: ending poverty, addressing gross inequality, empowering women, making our food system healthy for people and ecosystems, transitioning to clean energy. The next 10 years must see the fastest economic transformation in human history, a project bigger than the civil rights movements in the 1960s that brought more equal rights to marginalized groups in the United States, Europe, and elsewhere, bigger than the moon landings that cost about 2% of US GDP in the 1960s, bigger than the Chinese economic miracle of the last 30 years that lifted 800 million out of poverty. As the report says, we need to rethink economic growth so that economies that need to grow can grow, and economies that are over-consuming can develop new operating systems. Poverty: GDP must grow at a rate of at least 5% per year for low-income countries until GDP is greater than $15,000 per person per year, using 2017 as basis. New indicators for well-being will be introduced. Inequality: shocking levels of income inequality must be addressed. This can be achieved through progressive taxation and wealth taxes, empowering workers, and dividends from a citizens' fund. The wealthiest 10% will have to take less than 40% of national incomes. Empowerment of women: transforming gender power imbalances requires empowering women and investing in education and health for all. Gender equity will contribute to the stabilization of the population below 9 billion by 2050. Food: to transform agriculture, diets, food access, and food waste. By 2050, the food system must become regenerative, storing vast volumes of carbon in soils, roots, and trunks, and nature positive. Local food production should be incentivized, and excess inputs of fertilizers and other chemicals significantly reduced. Healthy diets for all while protecting soils and ecosystems and not expanding the amount of land overall devoted to agriculture, and dramatically reducing food waste. Energy: we must transform energy systems to increase efficiency, accelerate the rollout of wind and solar electricity, halve emissions of greenhouse gases every decade, and provide clean energy to those without. This will also deliver energy security, cut emissions by half approximately every decade to reach net zero emissions by 2050. Okay, this is all great, The report goes into a lot of detail about how each turnaround can be implemented. I encourage you to go read it. It's fascinating. The highlight is the creation of a citizens fund, which is basically an institution at national level that collects fees from the use of shared commons and from the very rich, and pays them back to all citizens in the form of dividends. It works like this. A corporation wants to harvest minerals from the common land. The land is not owned by anyone. We are the stewards of nature, not its owners. The corporation would pay a fee for extracting the minerals after the people, especially the local communities, have decided how much can be extracted without destroying the local ecosystem. The corporation does not have to make a profit. It will work for the people. Financial institutions will also pay fees into the Citizens Fund, especially on speculative transactions on complex financial products that nobody understands. The government will also transfer money into the Citizens Fund from the public budget in the form of net spending. The owners of capital, the very rich, landlords, and big monopolies, will also pay heavy fees into the Citizens Fund because it is about time the crème de la crème pay their fair share to society after they have stolen trillions of dollars over the past 50 years. For your life, all this means you will get a fair share from the wealth created in your country. This can be tens of thousands of dollars in today's money per person per year for each and every year only because you are a living human being. This is not revolutionary. It appears to be radical only when we do not know the history of how we got here. This leads me to tell you what I mean by capitalism. Commonwealth, from agriculture, land to forests, rivers, oceans, was viewed as belonging to everyone until the ruling class decided to enclose land and make it private, while excluding everyone else. The idea of enclosure lives to this day when almost everything can become capital that is privately owned with the right sets of legal codes, as legal scholar Katharina Pistor explains. Once capital belongs to somebody, everyone else is excluded from using that piece of capital and from enjoying its benefits. This applies to the means of production, to personal data, to real estate, to intellectual property, to land. Capitalism is the system that links ownership to power with capital as its object. The system is pushed to grow indefinitely by the profit motive. Capitalism without the profit motive does not exist, and it was capitalism as an economic system that ruined our access to the commonwealth. The natural order of things is that land, forests, rivers, oceans cannot belong to anyone. They simply exist while humans come and go, generation after generation. Humans can be, at best, stewards of the commons, but not owners. Surely we can make an argument that capitalists deploy labor and innovation to transform resources into something they sell on the market, but this never changes the fact that capitalists do not need to own the resources. The commons are not ownable. Even personal data that is harvested by big data corporations cannot be naturally detached from the humans that rightfully generated the data, meaning you watching this video. The only legal basis big data corporations have to take your data and sell it to the advertisers is the framework of capitalism. But it is not the natural basis and never was only codified into law over the past few decades. At a gut level, you know this. Precisely why so many people want to get rid of capitalism and replace it with a fair system. The Citizens Fund is just one idea of how common wealth can be shared. There are many others. You deserve your fair share by simply existing as a human being. There's about 80% chance you are new to this channel. Check out my other videos to learn more about the degrowth movement and how we can replace capitalism with the well-being economy where prosperity is shared, where we all live in harmony with the natural world. I would like to thank my supporters for saving me from capitalist advertising. They have my eternal gratitude. This is a lot of work and I am only one human, so if you can support this channel, please visit my Patreon page. Thank you.